Hello, hello. What is up, gamers? What is good? We got a new chapter of One Piece. I was so excited to read it that I didn't even bother brewing coffee. Instead, I just whipped out one of the canned coffees. Because this seems like it is going to be a doozy of a chapter. We left the last one with an unprecedented showdown. Emperor of the Seas, Monkey D. Luffy versus King of the World, Imu. I don't know how they're going to skirt around said confrontation. I think it has to kind of be the focal point of this chapter. We're going to see Gear 5 go up against one of the strongest and scariest powers shown in the series so far. See how Luffy is able to scrap at this level, see how the effects of Gear 5 intersect with the unprecedented evil demonic powers of Imu. Is it a hard counter in either directions? Is this like the fated matchup where everything kind of makes unprecedented sense about Gear 5? Are either of them going to get pushed to their limits? I still think this can't be the final showdown, surely. And Imu is going to have to beat some sort of hasty retreat after fighting to a draw, something like that. But who knows? A lot of things have happened in this arc that I did not anticipate at all. So I could be wrong. They could actually fight to the finish here, and other enemies will await us after. That would be kind of nuts. But this whole series is kind of nuts, so who knows? I do think as well, this is a situation where Imu is in a unique position where he knows the entire history of the Void Century. He knows who Joy Boy is. He maybe even knows who Nika is. Imu as an entity might be going all the way far that back too, to the kind of primordial god era of the world, and not just the first Pirates Void Century Joy Boy era of the world. So Imu knows an unprecedented amount of stuff compared to every other character, and also just likes to shout shit. He's not like guarded about it. He's not elusive about it. He's very emotional about it, and does things like shout, "Shut up, Joy Boy," at Luffy, which is very confusing to Luffy. And we even saw one panel. This is kind of the only glimpse we've had of that era, besides when the giant robot also thought back to Joy Boy, where we saw into Imu's memories and saw like a brief Joy Boy flashback. Now, do I think we are on the precipice of a third big flashback in Elbaf set in Joy Boy's time? No. Although I do think we will get that eventually. But I do think at any page turn we could see panels, depictions, just evocative little glimpses through Imu's memories and see more Joy Boy action. So that's very exciting as well. I think let's just plunge in, I say, after rambling for 3.5 minutes. Very, very cute cover page here. Another underwater setting. Oda loves to draw these, of course, because he can put Nami in a bikini. Robin in a bikini as well in the back there. But he loves drawing goofy fish and sharks and this big turtle, and they're all palling around and hanging out. Good times, good times. Let's check out chapter 1188. Vohu. What the hell? Okay. So, Imu remembering a phone conversation, a Den Mushi conversation. This is very evocative paneling and stuff, these all black panels. The conversation filtering in through Imu's memories, through this distant, shady depiction. Indeed, Joy Boy is long dead. So why does that remind me of that time? How should I know? And then the fight begins. Emu using this omen-infused punch. I like, too, that Emu's powers are getting goofier and goofier. They become more and more of kind of a counterpart to Gear 5 with this animate, personality-filled, comical omen power. The flames themselves are talking. Ooh, and look at this. Emu also able to stretch like rubber. Now, Emu has the power of the Devil Fruit, which we don't really understand what that means. It could mean something as crazy as Emu can do stuff that, you know, samples the powers of every single Devil Fruit user. That'd be kind of crazy, but we haven't really seen any other indication of that until now. We also just kind of have this, like, weird analog of stretchiness and freedom that Oda has kind of been just slightly sprinkling into a couple different conversations and stuff. Like, mostly when Bonnie and Kuma talk about Niku, they talk about how Niku is this stretchy hero and that his stretchiness represents his ability to make different possibilities real. And that when Bonnie uses her Devil Fruit to go into her own version of Gear 5, she's also able to stretch and bend. And they're kind of like, well, I guess she's just like imagining different futures where she looks like that or whatever, which makes sense. But I also kind of feel like I want to kind of like see some sort of development where it's like, well, the Gum Gum Fruit wasn't really the Nika Fruit. It's like all Devil Fruits are the Nika Fruit. And that it was Luffy that made the Gum Gum Fruit able to do that. But that all Devil Fruits eventually allow for this kind of expression and something like Gear 5. And here we see Emu also doing something like this. Luffy, incensed. What the hell? What kind of depiction is this? He's so charred and stuff by the omen. It almost looks like a crude blackface caricature. I don't think that's intentional, or Oda's gonna get in trouble. But yeah, this is the kind of fighting I anticipated seeing, where we really see how these powers are matching up. Very choreographed, very intense. Big attacks flying everywhere, but not just relentless beam spam in either direction too, which I like. Not just insane explosions, but something that still has this feeling of like grit in One Piece, something that still has kind of a central mystery to it, where Luffy can't figure out how he was able to get that one good hit in. Now he's unable to replicate that. More omen bombs flying out. I love when Gear 5 Luffy does his crazy windmill leg run. Are those supposed to be bombs? He fires out the Jet Gatling. Blows them up. What the hell? The Gum Gum Genie. What the hell? And I won't let his death be in vain. I'm still alive, you moron. Okay. I have no idea what the Gum Gum Genie is. He's really turning into the genie of Aladdin in a way, doing these kind of insane, spontaneous impressions. But the impression he does is of a genie, which adds another layer of confusion. I like his little meat thing on his turban. It's all very, very odd. He's going ho 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 ho, which is not how he laughs normally. I guess that's what a genie laughs like in his mind. Is he remembering Oven from Whole Cake Island? Oven rubs his belly and a genie comes out? Or no. Is that Oven or is that Daifuku? Yeah, that's Daifuku. Oven's devil fruit was just heating stuff up. Which makes sense. Daifuku is the one that could summon a genie. Did Luffy interact with him? Did he see this? Or does he also just have his own conception of a genie? In which case, are there real genies out there in the world of One Piece somewhere that he read about in a book or something? So the thing with One Piece is that, like, everything is real. Mermaids are real, dragons are real. They're myths within the series, but then they're also real. That something like a genie could be like that too. Crazy. Ragnar trying to help Loki, trying to protect him from Emu firing off more Omen. Jinbei on defense, excellent. I like that. I like that Jinbei gets a pretty important role here, even though he's not getting a full-on fight with our other Holy Knights, which I assume we're going to go check in on those fights shortly. But he still gets to, like, use his combat prowess as well. He's my pal. I ain't nobody's pal. That's Luffy. He's fighting that guy from before. Is he gonna be alright? Who the hell is that guy? Anyways. The only people higher than the Knights of Gods are supposed to be the 5 Elders as far as I know. Maybe he's the Knights Commander. I bet that's it. You guys are underestimating it. There is no group more shrouded in mystery than the world government. Okay. I'm trying to still get Princess Shuri out. Try to figure out what the next steps are there. Remembering when Luffy and Robin got frozen by Aokiji. A man with an afro calling Gunko Princess Shuri. Could it be? I'm surprised that Emu remembers that, because Emu does have this kind of like aloofness, where it's like I don't think he recognized Sabo when Sabo was like spying on them. He seems like he's almost displaced from time when he's calling Luffy Joy Boy. There is part of him that seems to like lapse into memories of that time. Basically, he's not quite all there mentally, perhaps. So for him to recall Brook, unless Shuri is like way more important than we think, it seems like that was just one of many kind of like kidnapping incidents that they were just going around finding children they had scattered across the ocean and people with bloodlines they were interested in and stuff like that. Like with Bonnie and stuff too. I that's how I pictured it. Maybe it is actually a bigger deal. Maybe this is kind of the ultimate significance of the Brook flashback is still to come, that we'll learn that Celestial Dragon and Shuri, have some other significance or something. Luffy with the caught you slipping bullet. Thinks he's about to get a big hit in. Not watching earlier. Watching what happened to Loki, despite his size. Putting Omen into his genie beard. He didn't have to have the genie beard. And then firing off the linking instant sword thing as well. Probably one of Emu's most powerful attacks. The Omen chasing him down. Again, all very comical. And ooh! Now trading in his cool spear type thing for another weapon. The Blade of Nothingness, Vohu. It looks awesome. We've seen black blades before. The strongest swords in the world of One Piece are said to be black blades. Here it's like this kind of like marbled black and white blade with flames. It's kind of nuts. I fuck with it. I'm into it. I like that the trees wither away just in his presence. I guess those aren't trees. Those are like twigs coming off the tree, but whatever. Cutting a path of nothingness simply through its existence, not even being swung, just emanating a sense of nothingness. Oh man. Uh-oh. Oh shit. We haven't seen Luffy get stabbed like that in a long time. He took his licks against Kaido, for sure. But, damn. Wow. I don't know how that's not, like, GG. Because I don't think they're gonna just be like, oh, well, he got better. Oh, that was a Gum Gum clone. I'd used Gum Gum shadowed clone jutsu. How did he get him? Luffy just jumped in. And Emu potentially through insane observation hockey just gutted him. With an insane, not a Dawn, well, eventually a Dawn, but a Dozu, written in really intense sound effect calligraphy. Joy Boy was not this weak. That's insane. So, yeah, like, I don't think this is a fake out. I could be wrong. It would fit the trolling nature of Gear 5 if this was somehow a fake out. But I doubt it. But I also kind of don't see how they can go back to, like, okay, now Zoro and Sanji are fighting when Luffy is, like, impaled. Right? Doesn't that feel tonally off? But it'd also be weird to kind of like set up those fights and then just like not do them. I also think it would be weird if Wayne or Elbaf ends up being another like egghead of they lose basically and have to beat a hasty retreat. I mean, it could be, but I don't know. That feels wrong, too. I think all we're kind of left with is a card that Oda has plenty of in his hand that he is very reluctant to play, especially at this time, which is the run-in. We could have a run-in. Because it's not like Luffy's gonna die. Like, let's be real here. That one I think is right out. It's not like there's anybody else on this island that can do a run-in of their own and sway the tide of this battle and save Luffy. So I'm gonna guess somebody off island who had been lurking around Elbaf, waiting, biding their time. And I think it'll be somebody already established, because, you know, that's what makes a run-in pretty hype. You know, Kenpachi's gonna show up, right? It's not some guy we've never heard of, but a guy we're excited to see because we know who they are. But who's left? I said that Oda has a lot of run-in cards in his hand, and that's true, but, like, not many of them would make any sense as being able to make a difference here and save Luffy from Emu. Like, I don't think it's like Marco, because Marco already had his heroic run-ins. A lot of the other really powerful guys are also villains. Garp is kind of MIA. Kobe wouldn't make any sense. Any of the Marine affiliated guys I don't think would make any sense. I don't think it would make any sense for it to be like Blackbeard or somebody Blackbeard affiliated. Not because they wouldn't have beef with Emu. They certainly do have beef with Emu too. And the big three-way battle is still approaching, I think. I don't think it would be Shanks. That doesn't really make any sense to me. Although, I guess there's more indications that it could be Shanks than most, because Shanks was at Elbaf not long ago and could still be in the area. But, like, he kind of saved Luffy at the Whitebeard War. But even then, they made it really clear to show that, like, other people were saving Luffy. It wasn't just Shanks. I think we really are supposed to see Shanks and Luffy as, like, peers now. So I don't think it makes sense for Shanks to show up and kind of unilaterally save Luffy like this. I don't think it could be Raleigh. It could be Scopper, Gaban, I guess. But he is kind of out of commission. Chopper's treating him. Who the hell's going to save Luffy? It could be somebody new. It could be somebody new but hinted at. Which is the astral lair of Elbaf. I keep talking about it. Because they pointed it out. They said there's the underworld and the sun world and then the astral world on top. They wouldn't have said that for no reason. And then there's still the big frickin' sword sticking into Elbaf that they drew every single time they showed Elbaf. So what if a truly ancient giant that retired and slumbered on the top layer, that has now transcended some corporeal form or something, now finally deigns to come down into the sun world and is, I don't know, maybe can also grow and shrink. They already set that up, that Emu can grow and shrink, and Emu said everything can grow and shrink. Which is, again, kind of maybe touching on this idea of, like, an omnipresence of stretchiness and rubber, whatever. Grows super big and yanks that big sword out, and then Emu also grows super big, and they have an insane kaiju battle in the waters around Elbaf, and this is what forces Emu to retreat, and then this is also what sets up the quest to find the frozen continent of ancient giants, is that this super elder giant knows about that stuff. Could be something like that. I don't know. Why, if that character existed, why wouldn't they do anything until now? Just because everything else that has happened on Elbaf in this arc so far has been small potatoes? Potentially? But they recognize that the embers of Joy Boy being snuffed out here is no good. I don't know, man. This is crazy. Like, at once this feels kind of like, you know, a pretty natural plot beat. This devastating attack made on our hero by a unprecedented villain. But, like, just looking at what Oda likes to do and doesn't like to do, he's put himself in a pretty precipitous place here where I think if he doesn't really play his cards right in terms of how this gets resolved, it's going to feel really ass-pully, and it's going to feel like this moment is like a fake out, right? Like it's going to be lame. And I don't want that. And as such a One Piece fan, I kind of don't believe that could happen. So something crazy is going to happen here. And I don't think it's going to be like Gear 6. I don't think Luffy's going to like... I hear now the second verse of the Drums of Liberation And now my hair is blue, and it's Gear 6. Because I was brought to the precipice of death, and it's like when Gear 5 activated. I don't think it was going to be like that. I think it's got to be some sort of, like, run-in. Because it's like, the whole point of this is that Luffy is still getting gapped. And that Emu's true historic rival, Joy Boy, was that much stronger. And that there's still something he's lacking. But it's not like instant presto changeo he's going to get that in this moment. That doesn't make any sense. He's going to take the L. Many things are going to happen. And then the rematch, he's going to understand better what Joy Boy was and what his powers are. You know, we'll have the Joy Boy flashback or something. And that's what'll motivate it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in a week, I guess. Unless they announce some sort of break. Crazy stuff. It's probably going to go on break. This is the kind of chapter that Oda takes breaks after. just to fuck with us. Alright. Still can't get over the Gum Gum Genie. This is crazy. What the hell is a genie? See ya.